Good morning, everyone. Welcome back again to a professional match of StarCraft 2. It's the Monday over here in the Netherlands. And once again, what better way than to start this week than with a top-level game of Protoss versus Zerg. So spawning here in the bottom left-hand corner of 2000 atmospheres and playing with the blue Protoss probes, we have Zest. Zest, of course, from South Korea. I mean, one of the highest ranked Protoss players of all time. He's been around for a very long time and he certainly does not seem to show any signs of slowing down. His opponent in the opposite corner, from Finland with the red Zerg drones, by many considered to be the greatest of all time. Of course, that means we have none other than Serral. At least that's how he says it himself, okay? Serral. Alright, anyways. Let us see exactly what ends up going down here once again. I mean, I can keep repeating myself, especially in the early games of Protoss versus Zerg, because I feel like PvZ is one of those matchups that's kind of always the same in the early game, at the very least. Anyways, once again, we see the hatchery getting blocked right there. Serral is going to be forced to take the third base, which, interestingly enough, is actually down below here. Most of the time, I feel like everyone on this particular map is expanding horizontally. Protoss players, Zerg players, and Terran players alike. Generally speaking, actually, Terran players are quite fond of expanding forward, just because it creates like a staging ground for them to go back and forth. I guess on this particular map, against like, for example, a Stargate push, it is kind of difficult to go for a Queen March. A couple of reasons for that. First off, there's this bridge right here in the center of the map, which is a little bit funny in the first place, to be honest, because this map obviously is underwater. So, I don't know. At what is this, like 20 kilometers depth, someone built a bridge. It goes even deeper. Anyways, there's also, obviously, like a force field over here or like a disruptor hit, right, would be an absolute disaster. But also, if you are a Protoss player, right, and you take this as your natural, obviously, and then you take this as your third, if queens start moving up this ramp and then the rocks are not down, it's kind of easy to defend because all you need to really do is just force field over there, right? And make sure that the units do not go towards the high ground. I wonder if he took the third base over here, just because this way he can also march the queens towards the third base in that direction. I don't know, maybe I'm looking into it a little bit too much, but it is curious, yeah, as to why Serral decided to go for the third base over here. Obviously, one advantage is that you can get the tumor started off a little bit closer to your opponent's base. So this creep will start crossing the map really, really quickly. Anyways, it is going to be a Stargate opener right here from our Protoss player. He's going to rally the Void Ray right there in the back. Maybe he's expecting the Overlord to still be hanging out over there. No. This Overlord, as slow as it is determined to live. It checks out a couple of fishes right now, but it's an Overlord with a mission. It probably will try to get home safely, but I'm not entirely sure if that will really end up being the case. Couple of Zerglings right now patrolling back and forth. These are just in range to spot potential third bases from going up. So if Zest decides to send a probe over in that direction, oh no. Poor Ovi, man. Unless this... no, it's not gonna happen. Unless this Void Ray goes across the map. Which I don't think it will. Nah, this Overlord is dying. I'm sorry, Mr. Overlord. I know you've had a bit of a mission. You started this game as the very first one to float across the map. You made it to your opponent's natural. You checked out what was going on here. You saw the first chrono boosts. And then even though you tried to get away for the better part of your life, you still died. Kind of sucks, man. Anyways, third base, I guess natural expansion here, has been acquired by Serral. Maybe a couple of drones will end up going down here. Okay, one drone. Yeah, one drone. Second Stargate goes down here as well for Zest. Okay. So this is going to be a full-on Stargate approach. I mean, Fleet Beacon at the 4.5 minute mark. After like a... What is this? Like a 350 third base? He's got 2 Adepts, 1 Oracle, and 1 Void Ray. This is the reason why we see a lot of Zerg players going for those queen-based pushes. Because... I mean, this is an exceptionally greedy build right here from Zest. It basically means that he's gonna have, by the 7 minute mark, maybe like 7 units, okay? He's not gonna have a whole lot in general. He's gonna have a lot of probes, right? And those, I guess, count as units as well, but there's no denying that this is about the most greedy way you can open up as a Protoss player. And also one of the most scary ones, to be honest. I mean, as I've said many times before, generally speaking, Zerg players right now at the pro level do not seem to feel very comfortable playing against a Protoss player that's just sitting there making carriers or Tempest or whatever. In this particular case, it's going to be 2 Tempests here at once. However, Serral, I think Serral is one of the very few that comfortably likes to play the late game. I mean, I don't know if he likes it. I remember him saying about a year or so ago that he was playing the late game primarily just to draw. That was like his main goal. I don't really know exactly if that was tongue-in-cheek, but there's no denying that he also, at the very least, wasn't a huge fan of the late game of this particular matchup. However, it's been a while since we've seen Protoss players just going straight to the Skytles army, and the reason for that is those queen pushes. Now, in this particular case, okay, Serral hasn't scouted exactly what's going on, but he's already going to go for a Spire here as well as the Roach Speed. If he goes for a Ultralisk transition, I'm pretty sure that's game over. At the very least, this is not going to be a queen-based push. We saw Scarlet going for a couple of Muta plays, right? There's no way a Muta transition here is going to be a good idea. Well, I guess it doesn't really matter, because these are two carriers that are already on a mission. 6 minutes into the game, we find ourselves with a couple of carriers that apparently want to go for a bit of a push. There's 6 queens out right now. Looks like the Spore Crawlers will be pulled from all of the bases towards the front as well, just to try and kill a couple of those interceptors. The interceptors, of course, very powerful. Once they're deployed... Ooh, nice little bit of micro. Once they're deployed, the range on them is actually very significant. This is actually kind of a scary army, though. It's just, 3 Protoss units, but they deal a lot of damage. Interceptor ships do get rebuilt as well, so they cost 15 minerals each. I was going to say 15 minerals each, but that doesn't really make all those sense. They cost 15 minerals each, and they have a lot of health, actually. So an interceptor ship, fun fact, it has 40 shields and 40 health. Meaning that for 15 minerals, they have more health than a freaking Marine. Did you know that? There you go. That's your trivia for the day. Anyways, that Spire right now coming in handy, though. Serral just transitioning straight towards Corruptors. If he manages to grab all of those carriers right away, I mean, the carriers right now spot the Spire there. I think it's time to get out, my man. Either you recall or you just run away. Because those Corruptors can easily kill this. Alright, yeah, he's deciding to recall right now, which I think is the smart move. Goes for a couple of Void Rays here right away. In the meantime, we're getting charged as well. There's quite a few gateways here available. That's a lot of gateways, actually. So he's going to be up to 11... No, he's going to be up to 12 warp gates here very, very shortly. Usually, whenever we see a build like this from Protoss, it's one where they sit back for a long time, and they will then try to max out on not just Skytles, but also Psionic Storm and all that, right? This kind of army feels to me a little bit more like a timing attack. So I would not be surprised at all if Zest decides to go for like a big push here in a little bit, because 12 gateways, that's a lot of gateways. Charge is finishing up. He is not getting the Storm upgrade, right? No, he doesn't have the Storm upgrade. So it's just going to be, I think, these Stargate units and then Zealots with a couple of Archons and maybe a Sentry or two. I think so. It's going to be quite the army. Alright, so Hive is scoping up, yeah. So to Serral right now, this looks like your classical super passive approach of Skytles, right? So, okay, Prismatic Alignment gets activated right there on the Void Rays. In Serral's mind, though, this is probably one of those classical approaches to Skytles. And if I was him right now, I'd be trying right now to get up to like 100 workers. The fact that Serral actually is making units here gives me the indication that he at least knows roughly what's going on, despite not really scouting a whole lot. I guess he's seen the amount of Zealots right now on the ground. Maybe he saw the amount of units that were being warped in all at once as well. But at least judging by the production tab here, it seems to me that he knows that something is coming, or at least should be coming. I mean, Zest maybe he's not even going to commit to this. He's going for an Immortal right now. Prism is coming up. I feel like he's going to go for a push, because otherwise you would have gotten Storm, right? Maybe he's just trying to max out and then go for an all-out assault. So there's this awkward moment sometimes where Zerg players think that it's gonna be... Oh, these are Corruptors on a mission as well. But sometimes Zerg players think, okay, this is gonna be a super passive style. Protoss isn't gonna max out until like the 14-minute mark at soonest. Okay, that was really nice. Gets a couple of Void Rays there for free. So they will basically just drone up and start up their static defense super late. Maybe focus on upgrades a lot and just expand all over the map. And I can imagine if that were to be the case... Serral would, potentially be caught off guard. I feel like right now, though, he's in a pretty good position. That being said, this is a very, very scary Protoss army. That is an awful lot of Protoss. Look at the amount of Zealots here available as well. They can definitely go for a flank. Now, a couple of Infestors have joined the fray as well. These, oh my god, these Banelings actually, they're not blowing up on the Zealots. The Zealots actually waiting right there until the last possible moment. A couple of good Corrosive Balls, though, do connect right there on those Stargate units together. with, of course, that fungal growth that we saw going down. So a lot of these Skytools units are already running dangerously low. Serral target firing as much as he possibly can. We see the Zealots right now, though, charging at all of the Queens, and then also those Ravagers that are left over. Queens do have a lot of transfusion energy, but when they're running, obviously, it's very difficult to use. Skytools units will end up getting killed. A lot of drones are ended up dying here as well. Is there going to be enough, though, for a Zerg player to even hold on right now? Ooh. Yeah, I think those couple of Banelings blowing up on those Archons was actually a disaster. That's not what you want at all anyways. Corruptors right now don't have a whole lot left over, so they decide to start pissing right here. Or I guess puking. Yeah, it's coming out of the front, it seems. Anyways, they started puking right here on the Nexus. But in the meantime, I mean, there's a lot of damage here being done. Maybe you should start target firing down some bases, though, because I think all of these Zerg reinforcements, it's just going to be Roaches and Ravagers. Yeah, they should be able to clean everything up. Okay, so this hatchery will definitely end up going down. Maybe you can go after the hatchery right on the right as well. I'm not sure. A couple of Archons now also rallied in. Probably not ideal. So, what you got to keep in mind here is that this was a Protoss, not all in, but definitely dedicated pressure. Okay, let's leave it at dedicated pressure. They definitely meant right here, the Protoss that is, to end the game. Serral, however, is holding on. He killed a 4th Nexus. And as far as the worker counts go right now, which are actually super critical, it's looking okay, right? He's not at a huge eco, but he's going to be able to retake those bases. Creep spread is still looking pretty good. Obviously, he still has the Hive Tech as well. So he's going to be going into, well, we already saw the Ultralisk Cavern going down, and then also the Baneling Speed upgrade. I think the reason for that is that, Zest right now is no longer making Stargate units. He's just going for a transition right now towards a ground-based army that is based around Stalkers and then I guess an Archon here? Honestly? Oh, here come the Corruptors again. Yeah, so Caustic Spray, that's that ability. You can see for a little bit, it does very little damage. But then after, like, I think 6 seconds, the damage is something like quadrupled. So basically what it comes down to, initially Corruptors don't do a lot of damage. And then all of a sudden, it's like, health bar's gone. Anyways, I was going to say, if it's not based around Immortals... So basically, any Protoss unit composition that doesn't have Immortals in it is vulnerable to Ultralisks. Ultralisks actually are surprisingly powerful against Protoss. It's just that, you know, as soon as Protoss sees, hey, you're making Ultralisk, I'll just plant down another Robo and start pushing out a couple of those Immortals. Usually it doesn't go so well. So these Corruptors are used right now just patrolling back and forth to catch any War Prisms, which I really like. Even though it's only a handful left over, they still have a purpose. Alright, so Zest going from a Skytools army into a ground-based one. I don't think I like this unit composition all too much, though. Yeah, Serral looks at this right now as well, and he's like, you know what? I'm just going to make a couple of Ultralisks. How many armor upgrades does he have? 0. So I guess he just has the chitinous plating upgrade. Okay. Adrenal Glands comes up as well. It's a weird Overlord right there with a couple units in it. Okay, the hatchery goes down, which I kind of like. Decent force fields as well, though a couple of Banelings are slipping through the cracks here regardless. Ultra coming in from the side here as well. Zest, I think he may have very well overextended. He really wanted to go after the base. He will be able to kill one Ultralisk. Good target firing right there by him. Zealots actually come in from the side right now as well. There's a Void Ray now joining the fray too. Not a whole lot of anti-air remaining anymore. And what seemed like a pretty... yeah, sloppy fight here initially, just trying to get that desperation right there on that base, right? He tried to kill the base. Right now, all of a sudden, look at that. He's body blocking Ultralisks with a couple of Stalkers. And he's actually getting quite a lot of work done. Nice targeting right there by Zest. Very impressive stuff. Right now, since there's not a whole lot of anti-air available, this Void Ray is having a field day as well. It's got 5 kills, but I think most of those kills are the bigger units. Hatchery over on the right side obviously is gone, and now Zerg is stuck on 4 bases. Protoss also on 4 bases. So even though I was a little bit concerned for Zest's position here a couple of minutes ago, I mean, I guess technically he's on, 3 Nexi. Anyways, he's looking like he's in a much better spot right now. New base will be taken at like the 12 o'clock-ish position, maybe like 11 or so. I'm still not too impressed by the unit composition though, by our Protoss, right? Do we not want to see a couple of Immortals here? I really feel like Immortals are so important against these Ultras. Well, the Stalkers, I mean, the Stalkers also obviously also deal bonus against, oh, so patient. Yeah, they also deal bonus damage against armored. Banelings once again roll into, I guess, a couple of Archons. Not really what you want. Okay, sadly right here, Prism once again forced to pick up because the couple of Corruptors that are still left over do not allow it to finish the warp in there. So Serral is, I think, eventually gonna... Well, yeah, that Zealot flank also helped out a lot. I thought he was going to eventually be able to clean this up, and I think he will with reinforcing units coming up. But these traits are all going way better for our Protoss player than I thought they would. What a crazy game. 74 Zealots have gone down. That's crazy. Considering we saw the first 2 carriers at the, what was it, like 5-minute mark? 5.5 minutes? There have only been 4 in total in this game right now. Alright, that's another hatchery going down. Serral's going to be forced to send the drones on over towards that newly acquired base. Protoss, though, still has not acquired a 5th. I would not mind seeing one of those overlords moving on over towards this location over here. Serral doesn't actually know if there's a base there. Okay, well, now he knows. One thing that I think is going really well here, though, for Serral still, is the fact that he's got a lot of creep. So, this Protoss army can't really just march to the hatchery and go and kill it, right? He's got to be... Yeah, he's got to be taking his time. He needs to clear out the creep or take a fight on creep, but then those Banelings, Zerglings, and Ultras are going to be way more terrifying. Oh, Corruptors once again trying their puking ability. This Watchtower over here is super useful as well. Zest knows that this base is acquired just by watching the position right there of the Zerg army. Stalkers usually wouldn't be a very good choice against this, but yeah, if you keep fighting off creep like that, man, those target, it's so weird to see Ultras in this matchup that I'm not even entirely sure what to expect. Anyways, yeah, the target firing on those Stalkers is really, really nice. Zerglings obviously can easily surround it, assuming the units are on creep, but if they're not, hello, you're going the wrong way, my man. If they're not, the Zerglings actually have a pretty tough time against these Stalkers. I mean, oh, once again, we see a lot of Banelings this time around connecting with Zealots. I thought for a second they were gonna get soaked up right there by those Archons. Looks like the units over here also end up getting cleaned up, and that actually makes this much better right now for Serral. Ten Ultras have gone down. And we've only seen a single Immortal in this game. I still feel like a couple Immortals would really help out. Okay, you gotta recall. Recall, recall, recall. You're not gonna leave. Oh, okay. Nicely done right there. Very close. Double. Yeah, double. Okay, here we go. 2 more Robo going down. So that's gonna be 3 Robo facilities in total. I think Zest thought maybe that he had the tempo advantage, that he could just clean out this game just by continuously pushing. But Serral held on to that previous fight. So right now he needs, or to that previous, I guess, all-in. I mean, it's been all-in into all-in for a while, it feels like. Anyways, right now Zest is going to need something a little bit more sustainable against this queen-based, ultra-based army. It's making 4 queens right now at once. I would not mind seeing 3 Immortals being built here at once. My main issue right now, though, is that Protoss is starting to run out of money. I think he's got one more battle in him. But yeah, he needs to be very careful. I mean, this base on the right is going to be very difficult to acquire because Zerg is going to be all over that with Zerglings, right? Either that or they're going to run on over towards the 4th base or this low ground base over here. I think the expansion on the left is probably going to be more likely, but then all of a sudden your next door neighbor's right there with the Zerg, which is maybe also not what you necessarily want. Storm also being researched. Okay, so Storm, Archon, Immortal, Zealot, with a couple Stalkers that are still left over, right? I wouldn't mind seeing a Sentry maybe, but yeah, this is definitely a nice looking army right now. Serral has decided to take the base over here. Interestingly enough, Serral really hasn't made a lot of workers here in quite some time. He hasn't lost that many either. God, that's a lot of queens with a lot of energy, though. There's only 2 Immortals out at this point. I think Triple Romo may have been a little bit too ambitious because he can't really afford producing out of them with this low amounts of eco. Anyways, High Templar are inside of the Prism as well. I think the Storms are going to have to be absolutely perfect. Even though he sees the Immortal production, he's still adding on Ultralisks. Tempest come up. Okay, I like it. Tempest here make a lot of sense. Especially when this Zerg army doesn't have a lot of anti-air in it in general, right? Getting units that have a long range seems very, very hopeful. The only problem is that Tempests take a very long time to produce as well. And this doesn't seem like a... Well, maybe he wants to wait. I don't know. This doesn't really seem to me like a Zerg army that feels like waiting. Right? It feels like he's waiting for the creep spread to get closer to the base, but he can almost start hitting this army while fighting on creep at the same time. So here we go. Good storm goes down. Very good storm, actually. Couple of banelings right now rolling on over towards, I guess... Well, one of the bases here. Zerglings also ready to go for the run-by. There's plenty of static defense here, though, isn't there? Yeah, as long as the probes are pulled, it's all fine. Zerglings actually... Oh! They find a hole in the armor right here. A chink in the armor of the Protoss player. That means right now that the Stargates are going to be under threat. Where are those Tempests? Because they must have finished up. Okay, they're just idling right now on the creep. Or, well, on not the creep, I guess, but on the 5th base. A lot of units, though, are all over the place right now. And Zerglings with +3 and Adrenal Glands, they kill stuff really, really fast. Okay, Archon and Immortals right now in the front, trying to soak up some of those Zergling and Baneling hits. That's a lot of Ultras still remaining. Good transfuses as well, but you can see how much damage those Immortals really deal. Queens, though, are gonna run out of energy here eventually, but I think that these Protoss units may very well actually be stuck in a corner right now. The Ultras get really close, and with that... Serral obtains the victory. Felt like it started off as one of those matches where we just have a super passive Protoss player who's not really doing a whole lot. And then it got action-packed all over the map. That was really fun. I hope you enjoyed watching it. If you did, hit that like button down below. And if you want to see more, you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button as well as the little bell icon so you get notified as soon as future videos go live. Today, special shout out as well to the Patreon supporters. Thank you very much for your generosity. But for now, thanks for watching. Have an awesome day. Don't forget to smile, and I'll see you once again in the next one.